Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Wednesday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by our title sponsor, Able Auctions and ableauctions.ca. Unsigned, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. Sorry, but the most singularly skilled player at their prime, Pavel Bure. No disrespect to any other player, including Quinn Hughes, but it's not even up for debate. So he or she agrees with you, Rick. Let's see what John Shannon thanks. NHL analyst, a hockey storyteller. He's from Oliver, BC, knows all about BC sports and the Canucks. John Shannon, how are you, sir?
I'm great, boys. How are you?
Very well. This is our poll question today, our waddling dog poll question.
Oh, I was watching. Don't worry. I was watching.
Yeah. Quinn Hughes, 3 assists last night, now has 300 assists in his relatively young NHL career. Is he the best player in Canucks history? He's been here for 7 seasons.
Well, if he lasts 7 more, the answer will be yes.
Yes.
But I mean, I do think I had to choose between Pavel Bure, Andre Boudria, or Bobby Schmutz. And the last 2 I just absolutely adored as a kid. So, and both had huge impacts for the franchise way back in the 1970s. Donnie, as you were well aware,
yes,
they were great players at a key time. But at this point, in 2024, sample size has it that I think Pavel Bure is the best player ever to wear a Canuck sweater. But if Quinn Hughes stays on this trajectory, then that poll question will be more accurate 6 years from now, and Quinn Hughes will win that vote.
I'm glad you brought up Bobby Schmutz. I think Super Pest, the late, great Andre Boudria, got a lot of attention here back in his day. But I don't think people remember just how good Bobby Schmutz was, and he went on to help out Don Cherry and the Boston Bruins.
Bobby Schmutz was as vicious a player as you've ever seen in the National Hockey League. His family, the Schmutz brothers, were vicious players, but Bobby Schmutz could shoot the puck. Boy, he could shoot the puck. I think he had the team record for until Tony showed up. There's another guy that probably should have got a few votes, Tony Tanti.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think Bobby had the record at 37 goals for, almost a decade.
Hey, John, we like to talk contracts in this city. Brock Boeser is a UFA. They could have talked to him in the summer, John, and they could have did a deal with him in the summer like they did with JT Miller. Now, they were kind of hoping last year's 40 goals wasn't a one-off. Well, guess what? He's leading the team in goals. The longer the wait, the price is going to go up. This is going to be an interesting negotiation for me this year, the Canucks and Brock Boeser, John.
Well, let me ask you, Rick. You're closer to the club than I am. How much do you think that they stopped or delayed the negotiations because of the blood clots?
I don't think it was blood clot related. I think it was he scored 40 for the first time. Can you do it again? Was it a one-off, a one-hit wonder? I think, that's the feeling I got from talking to people.
You do wonder when health becomes a factor in whether a player can play or not. And we're not talking about a broken bone.
No.
We're talking about stuff that can go on for years if not treated properly. You do just wonder if that was a factor at some point when they said, okay, when do we start with the negotiations with Boeser? And I understand first time 40 goals. Look who he was playing with. Perfect. It was a perfect storm for him as a player. But then when the season ended the way it did for him, let alone the Canucks, you do wonder if that was a factor in any of the conversations internally.
No, that's a good point. Very good point. I'm looking at Winnipeg, 12-1, lead the NHL in points, and they're struggling to get fans to games. What's going on there, John?
Well, I don't think any city was hit harder economically in our country than Winnipeg was with the pandemic. It's still, I think, recovering in so many ways. The fact that the corporate community is not really committed to Winnipeg. It's not forget about the Jets, not committed to Winnipeg, I think, is a huge factor in this. The other part is you do have to point a finger every once in a while at the hockey club, who, when they sold out in 13 minutes in 2011, everybody thought it was what was going to happen, and the Jets were here for good. I think that they kind of disenfranchised themselves from the community at times because they didn't have to sell tickets, and so they have to learn how to sell tickets again in Winnipeg, and I think we started to see that last year. I think that there has to be concern that the team has yet to sell out a game, including a Monday night game against the Toronto Maple Leafs that wasn't on local television. So I think that I think that there has to be some concern. Let me just put it this way, though. The hockey ops group there, Kevin Cheveldayoff, Scott O'Neill, and the players, they're doing their job. All they're doing is winning. They're one of the most entertaining teams in the game. And you have to hope that somehow, some way, there's a few extra dollars in the community, in a community that has suffered a great deal recently, that they can actually put more bums in seats.
Alex Ovechkin, John, 7 goals in 11 games at age 39. He's now 36 goals behind Wayne, on pace to break the record this season. It seems like he's, at this age, upped his game from last season. What are you seeing?
Well, you know what? The fascination is that he is the positive residue of what Spencer Carberry and Chris Patrick have done in Washington. They made 7 changes to that roster. 7. They got eliminated quite quickly in the playoffs, so you knew you had to make changes. And Alex Ovechkin has embraced the change of coach and embraced the change in the roster, and I think that that's really empowered him. Here's the other factor to remember. We're all going to be focused on the February tournament between Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States. Alex Ovechkin's going to be on a beach. Alex Ovechkin's going to be rested coming out of the Four Nations face-off. So would it surprise me that Alex Ovechkin breaks the record this season, probably in the first or second week of March? It would not surprise me at all that he does it this year, because I think most of us thought it was going to happen next year, early in the season.
That is a great point that I will steal and use on the show on a regular basis for the next few months, John. Excellent.
Well, don't worry, I'm used to it because Rick will steal the blood clot story too. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll probably be on the Elon Musk machine in a couple of hours. So don't worry about it.
X.
Yeah, the bonus is in the mail, John.
Hey, have a great. I'm barely recovered from the Lions losing, so that's okay.
Well, yeah.
What is it?
Well, we'll see what's going on in a couple of weeks with the quarterback situation. They're not going to make any moves until after the Grey Cup because there's a news moratorium going on until then, especially with the Grey Cup being here.
Well, hopefully, and let's hope that game sells out. In Vancouver.
Yeah.
They're close.
I think the CFL has to have a concern about that right now as well.
Yep.
They're close. They're close, though, John. They're 5,000 short of a sellout. And if Saskatchewan gets in, guarantee
Winnipeg travels well too.
Winnipeg travels well.
If Saskatchewan gets in, half the Okanagan shows up. Come on now, I know that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
John, thanks for this. Next week.
Cheers, boys.
You bet.